All right, this is Brian Herbst. Welcome to episode 2 of Brian's Blunders. This is where I talk about mistakes that I made over my 40 years of work life that I call blunders, and these are things that impacted my career, my relationship with others, companies I worked with, companies I worked for, and trying to share my learnings with others, and hopefully they can pick up something from it as they move forward in their careers. So again, this one is called episode 2. Should have lobbied harder for this project. And this was when I got out of the Navy in '90. I started working for Michelin Tire Corporation in Greenville, South Carolina. And Michelin had a great training program and great people at Michelin, by the way. And so I had a 6-month training program that really put me through the paces. Good transition out of the military into the working world. And I can't remember exactly why, but sometime probably I'd been there for about a year, and I got assigned a project in a different area than I normally worked in. And it was supposed to be like a 3-day project. And so I get into it, I'm looking at the area and talking to operators, talking to the staff, and kind of looking at how they do things, and that kind of dawned on me. It's like, well, there's a whole different way we could approach this area and save a lot of money. Just reorganize it completely. And ran the numbers, and I was like, okay, this project's going to take about 9 months to implement. It's going to save like $900,000 a year. It was a really interesting project and very, very doable in my opinion. And I wanted the project. But it was well beyond the scope of what I got assigned to do. So I went to my boss and I said, hey, here's my idea. Here's the numbers, here's what I think it'll take. And my boss said, yeah, it's an interesting project. I think this is something we should pursue. And I'm gonna give this project to the guy, the industrial engineer that's in that area. And so he will run the project. And I knew the guy, nice guy, did what he needed to do, but liked to fly under the radar. He did not want to take personal risk. Any reputational risk was not his thing. And my boss said, no, you can't, it's gotta be him. That's just the way it is. And I was like, but he's not gonna do it. He's not gonna pursue it. I know that, you know that. And he's like, no, he'll do fine. And I argued a little bit and eventually gave up. And that was my blunder. I should have argued much, much harder for it. I didn't get it. And turns out the guy that was assigned to it did nothing, absolutely nothing with it. Very disappointing. And I was only at Michelin a year and a half. So it was probably '93, I run into a friend of mine from Michelin. And I said, hey, anything cool going on? Any interesting projects? And he goes, oh yeah. There's this project at the Anderson facility that's just really cool, and it's going to save us a lot of money. I'm like, really? What is it? And he described it to me, and it was like, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. That was my idea. And I told him the name of the guy in Greenville who was supposed to do it at the Greenville facility that never did it. And he goes, yeah, there's a lot of excitement about it. The guy that came up with the idea is like the golden child now, and I was like, oh my gosh. But anyway, at least it got done, ultimately, which is great. But I always kind of kicked myself. I should have argued harder for it, and things might have turned out differently if I would have had that project. Because I even told my boss, I said, I'll do that project in addition to my normal job. I was that engaged with it, because there's nothing better than having an employee have an idea and you give them the responsibility for implementing it. It's going to be golden if you can do that, right? Because they're vested in it. And that was a problem, is the guy they assigned it to was not vested in the idea. He just saw work. He didn't see reward. So my recommendation, my learning from all this is, if you have something where you come up with an idea and you're passionate about it, don't give it up. Don't let it go. I should have pushed much, much harder, but I was too early in my career to have the confidence to do that, which is a little disappointing. I may not have won that argument ever, to be fair, but losing the argument made it pretty easy to leave Michelin. You know, so that was a blunder on my boss's part, in my opinion, because I would have stayed for a few more years anyway, and who knows what life would have brought if I would have stayed. Anyway, so that's my blunder. Fight for your projects a bit harder. And so today's video, I'm at Keowee Brewing in Seneca, South Carolina, and I'm drinking Get Lost IPA, really good, and I'm not getting compensated for this at all. I just like a good beer on a warm day, as usual. Anyway, take care, and any comments, leave them at the bit below here in the section for question and answer, and I may or may not reply. Anyway, take care. Talk to you soon.